christiangeekcentral.com. The song goes like this.
Hey, I'm Peter Franson from christiangeekcentral.com and Spirit Blade Productions. Welcome to Trial and Error, where I take a look at the first part of a game or a game demo, usually do that pretty badly, and give you my thoughts along the way. This time I'm taking a look, at long last, at Path of Exile for the PlayStation 4. I played Path of Exile, well, on and off. I've played it over the years on PC as it's gotten updates and things like that, and by far I think it's the most impressive, truly free-to-play video game I've ever played. And it's definitely aesthetically my kind of fantasy RPG, but I just am so often not in the mood to play in the keyboard and mouse position at the end of a long workday. I would much prefer to just chill out and, hunch over in my seat with a gamepad in my hand. And so I've really been wanting to see this kind of game come to PlayStation 4. Specifically, by this kind of game, I mean Diablo clone. I like the Diablo games, but I tend to enjoy the clones better. Specifically, Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance 1 and 2, Champions of Norath, any of the Snowblind Diablo clones, like the Justice League Heroes Diablo clone as well. I think that I get a little bored of all the swarming when the screen just gets so crazy active that it's almost like an RTS instead of like an action RPG where, each individual enemy is a little bit more meaningful to interact with, or to fight. I guess you don't just interact with them. But I don't know, I could be persuaded. I did enjoy a lot of Diablo 3, which certainly had a lot of swarming, especially as you get further into the game. I don't know. Sometimes I wonder if my tastes have changed without knowing it, because I reviewed Titan Quest a year or so ago, which is a really celebrated game for a lot of gamers, and I just did not find much of any enjoyment in it. Now, I did come back to that game recently and found that I did enjoy it more than I did the first time around, so I just don't know what's going on in my head right now as far as my ability to enjoy Diablo clones, but I'm really looking forward to trying this one out, so without any further delay, here we go!
By the divine authority of the Templar, you are hereby exiled to the forsaken shores of Reclast. You have transgressed against God and consorted with sin. Find your redemption, exile, or die in the attempt.
Boy, I forgot about the religious overtones of this. I remembered that we were all prisoners on the continent of Reclast, but I forgot that was in the context of, sinning against God. God singular. And then it sounds like in some way we need to earn our redemption, which is a very common concept in multiple religions. It's alien to Christianity, even though I think, oddly, it's sometimes associated with some of the more traditional strands of Christianity, as opposed to the more biblically oriented strands of Christianity. So, from the class descriptions, I get the impression that they're being exiled from a theocracy, which is no doubt corrupt and hypocritical, because of course it is. That's just what we do with monotheism in fiction, right? We offered you truth, yet still you clasped your superstitious lies. We offered you service, yet you wasted your strength in defiance. Originally, when I played on PC, I played as the Marauder, just kind of like a brute melee type class, and I did try a little bit of the Witch on PC as well. I think that's what I'm going to go with this time, because I like magic users, and I'm also curious how a ranged-oriented magic-type class will work with the gamepad. I'm going to name her Morrigan. I always liked that magic user character in the Dragon Age games, and really thought she got cheated of a continued story in the sequels. Oh, crap! Oh, because this is a freaking online game, so I can't really name her what I want. I gotta name her Morgan 69 Dookie or some crap like that. Oh, this is brutal. This is brutal. Freaking online games, man. Alright. Well, I didn't want to name her Ebony Ravenloft. I like to save that for female, like, assassin rogue type characters. But it would be my number 2, and I'd be a bit surprised if it was already taken. Invalid characters? Only letters and underscores, so I gotta name it freaking Ebony underscore Ravenloft. Oh, this is so... I hate this crap. I hate this crap. It just sucks the, any sense of roleplay I might want to have about who my character is. Like an internal idea of who my character is. I get plucked out of it when I gotta do stupid stuff to essentially create a username, not a character name. Oh, hate that. It's weird, the way she moves isn't quite as, like, reactive to my controls as I'd like. Like, if I go move, stop, she still moves for a little bit when I'm done. Move, stop. Move, stop. Move, stop. Oh, there, she stopped it. Move, stop. So she just keeps going just a little bit longer. I'm sure I'll get used to it. You gonna tell me how to attack? No? Should I just press a button? Okay, X. That looks like it. Okay, so as you're walking around, it kind of highlights in red the enemy that your ranged attack will target. I mean, this game wins aesthetic points for me all over the place for just its dark, dreary aesthetic. I'm wondering why some of those shots miss. I don't know if that normally happens when you're clicking on them on the PC version. I can't remember. Miss. Hit. Hit. So, I mean, most of them hit, but every once in a while I get a miss. I don't know if that's my stats or something? Let's see, I'm trying to remember how these healing potions work. I think your healing potion bottles refill maybe as you kill enemies or something? Hardline is the first character to enter Basilica. Is that some kind of like a... Is that another user? I don't want to hear anything about other users. Oh, jeez! Oh, man! Oh, man, he's gonna hurt. Nice.
And I thought I'd be a dead woman by now.
Sweet. Grinding Gear Games, who makes Path of Exile, is pretty well known for having only cosmetic upgrades available in their microtransaction scheme. But they do have these stash tabs that you can get. I'm not far enough into the game, and it's been too long since I've played what was a much earlier version of Path of Exile on PC to really remember what the use of these things are. I don't know if it's more storage space in your inventory that you carry on you, or storage space in your inventory that stays in the town or something. I don't know. So I'll be curious to see what practical value that has. I've told myself I'm willing to spend up to $60 in microtransaction stuff on this game. I don't want to spend more on this than I would on an actual retail game.
You have transgressed against your God and your fellow man. You have been a willing vessel for the following sins. Theosophical vanity. 1 count of public heresy. 1 count of challenging the authority of a church official. God has charged me with your redemption. You are hereby exiled to Reclast, where it is hoped you shall come to repent your sins and make your peace with your beloved Father.
Wow. That smells a lot, just aesthetically, like the trappings of medieval Catholicism, which is very different from modern Catholicism and hugely different from biblical Christianity. How do I get rid of those dumb messages? I don't want to see those anymore. Well, I can at least toggle off allowing friends to join the group. They probably aren't going to let me play this game without an awareness of other players. Certainly not when I'm in a town like this. Okay, so the stash is something that's in towns. It's not on your personal inventory. Right now, 4 tabs looks like plenty, but what I always found interesting about this game is its economy, which doesn't have coins at all. It's all items. And there are these really basic items, like say scrolls of wisdom that you use to identify things, and you can collect them in stacks so they don't take up a ton of room in your inventory. But these base items kind of act as currency, yet they themselves do have a practical use. And they can also be crafted into other things. And I like that because it makes looting always feel a little bit useful, instead of just racking up a bunch of cash that you really don't have anything to spend it on. The finer points of navigation are still not as precise as I'd like. Man, there's a lot of nuts and bolts to this game that I'd forgotten about. Look at all that text for any one of these choices. I don't see a way to zoom the camera in and out anymore, and that's something that you could do on PC when I last played it. Not sure how I feel about that, about being forced at this zoom level. Oh geez. Oh man, they're coming right at me. Oh, what's that giant thing? That's nasty looking. I like that I'm not getting like a shower of loot from every enemy that I kill. I feel like that's just a waste sometimes to have to sort through all that crap. I really like loot, but I like a higher ratio of meaningful loot. But yeah, loot is absolutely probably the biggest reason that I play these games.
To learn is to live.
Gosh, I feel like I'm leveling up pretty fast too, which is satisfying. I like that feeling of pretty steady progress and development. Oh, that's nice. So I can go to something, start listening to it, and walk away, and it'll keep playing unless I want it to stop. Then I can press that button. That's super appreciated. Now, one thing I'm not a fan of in online games, one of many things I'm not a fan of, is that you can't pause. You know, I got like a life and a family, and sometimes stuff comes up that I have to give attention to, and it would be rude to not give attention to it immediately.
Please, you must.
Oh, hang on, got a bad guy here. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
How strange.
Oh crap.
I can see.
I don't think I want to be here.
Oh dear. It seems your time here is limited.
Oh crap, I'm gonna die big time. I should not be here at all. There I go. Okay, so that was clearly some kind of a recent expansion type thing that I am way too low level for. I was gonna say that you can't pause, but so far my experience has been that once you kind of clear an area on the map, you can kind of hang out there and not be attacked. So if you want to get into your menu and stuff like that, you'll be safe. So at least there's workarounds to not being able to pause. So it doesn't look like I lost any loot or any experience for dying that I'm aware of. I didn't get any messages saying I lost experience. I just respawned, so that's cool. I wanted to head back to town and sell some stuff anyway. Ooh, I like those sound effects. That's something that games can easily take for granted, is the sound effects from picking up things or giving things over to a merchant to sell them. But good sound effects there can make the looting process that much more satisfying for me, and selling and buying and stuff like that. Gosh, I'm still getting used to some of the controls a little bit. Like, very often I want to use circle to back out of a menu, but I can't always do that. Sometimes I got to use the touchpad to back out of a menu. I wish there was an option to kind of remap the buttons within the game itself. The glossary says that intelligence does improve how much mana you have by some amount, but it doesn't say how much. And so I'm not sure right now if I want, you know, both greater effectiveness in my shielding, which intelligence grants me. It might also have an effect on some spell damage. I'm not sure. There's just a lot here that is not clear to me exactly how it all works in terms of upgrading my character and what effect upgrading a certain stat is going to have on my character. And normally that would be okay, but I've heard with this game that if you don't build your character the right way, you can get yourself in trouble later on, so that you basically have to respec your character. And respecing your character isn't necessarily easy in this game. There are some items that can allow you to respec a few points, but, you know, I don't want to get almost through the entire campaign only to realize, oh my gosh, I have to do a ton of backtracking and grinding because I made my character, quote-unquote, the wrong way. All I want to do is finish the campaign. I'm not really interested... I mean, anything post-campaign for me, any of that content will just be icing on the cake for me. I just want to be able to get through the campaign. And one criticism I've heard of the game that I can't verify for myself is that it gives you this sense of freedom in how you build your character, and yet you can reach a point where you realize, oh, there is kind of a right way, and I've screwed up my character, and I need to fix my character, or else I'm not going to be able to continue in the game. I suspect if I were to run into that, it would be a long time from now, and at the end of the day, it's a free game, but I'm pretty conservative with my spending, and so usually how I spend my time is a little more valuable to me than whether or not I have, you know, money to buy the thing I'm interested in. So even with this game being free, it would be a bummer to get really deep into it and discover, oh my gosh, I can't finish it without doing a bunch of annoying backtracking and respecking. But so far, I'm getting that good Diablo clone-y type of vibe, and the moment-to-moment gameplay I'm enjoying. You know, it could be so overwhelming to try and plan too far ahead. I think I'm just going to make some short-sighted decisions of what appeals to me right now, and hope that that doesn't cause me problems down the line. Portal scroll. Okay, 3 scrolls of wisdom for 1 portal scroll. Okay. So far, I'm happy with how the inventory is navigated. That was a big concern of mine. It's the reason that I wanted this on console, because you can make any PC game work with a gamepad, but without a user interface designed for gamepad, if you're managing inventory and stuff in an RPG, that's where it really falls apart for me. But so far, I'm liking this user interface for the inventory. Oh boy. Yeah, I'm liking the pace that they're throwing enemies at me. It'll probably get swarmy at some point, but I'm digging this right now. Yeah, and the auto switch, if I just hold down an attack button, after I've hit one enemy, it'll automatically auto-target like a nearby enemy, and that works for me. I like the world concept that like everybody who dies here turns into a zombie. It's like taking that little nugget from The Walking Dead and just making it one little facet of this crazy, dark, detailed world. Yeah, the challenge level feels good for my tastes too. I mean, it's mostly about, you know, holding down attack when enemies are in range and just being ready to gulp down a potion if you need one. I mean, I'm sure the gameplay could significantly change later on in the campaign, but I'm just reminded as I play this that because it's free and because it is modeled so nicely after those core Diablo games, this is probably a good way for someone to try and see if they might enjoy the Diablo clone genre, as long as you don't mind the super dark aesthetics. Didn't I have a portal here? Did my portal go away? Did I lose my portal because I left it alone for too long or something? Oh, foo on that. I feel like it's a pretty good monster variety, too. That's always something valuable to me in these games. Oh my gosh. That's a lot of bad guys. Oh, and a tough bad guy, too. Oof. One disadvantage to the economy is that I can't at a glance kind of tell which item is likely to be more valuable than another item. I have to actually look through the stats and compare them. Whereas in another game, it's like, okay, this one's worth 500 coins, this one's worth 1,500 coins. Okay. Granted, that's an oversimplified view, but I think it's still helpful at a glance to at least eliminate some options. Dang, those spell effects look really cool.
Too much clutter.
Already too much stuff. The cosmetics you can buy, like, upgrade, I think, some of your spell animations or attack animations and stuff, from your clothes and stuff, but I am totally happy with this game as it is, aesthetically, so I don't think that's going to be a source of temptation for me at all. Nice. Okay, so after you log off, the areas you've been to before have all the enemies respawn, it looks like. Which is great if you want to grind for experience. Oh, dang! Oh, is there no handy button for organizing all my crap? Okay, guess not. Boy, can I get more inventory slots? Oh geez, that thing is huge. Oh boy. My inventory size is small enough that I am getting a little bit tired of having to either teleport back to unload at the merchant or walk all the way back to unload at the merchant. Another option is to pick up less loot. I don't want to do that. Come on. Yeah, it's not quite as easy as I'd like it to be to just pick up individual items. Like, say I only want the goat hide buckler of this grouping here of loot. I mean, I can get around to it. I can, make it work, okay. Oh, there we go. Oh, no, wait, no. How about here? There we go. And then I can pick it up. Titan Quest has a nice feature where when you have a group of loot around you, you can hold down the X button, and then it scans the area and brings up a box where you can choose the specific items you want to keep. And when your inventory space is so limited, I would like the way that I choose to pick up loot on the floor to be slick and easy. Okay, I just quickly checked online. One thing that's nice about this game coming to PS4 so late and being around for so long is there's a wealth of information online as far as strategy, tips, and other information. You cannot, at any point in the game, increase this inventory space here. This is all you have, and so you've got to choose how you're going to use that space. So yeah, I'm either going to have to be selective in what I pick up, which the interface here does not make super easy. This is one place where a mouse would certainly be superior. Or I'm going to just have to gather up everything I can and just use portal scrolls to go back to town a ton. But I can see those trips getting a little bit tedious, and I might resent having to spend so many portal scrolls doing that. I don't know. I'm going to try changing my tactic a little bit. I'm going to try and be more selective with what I pick up, and see if I feel like that limits me in terms of the quote-unquote currency I have available, and if, I feel weak as a result of not picking up everything and getting as much currency as I can. Come on. Okay, I guess I just want the goat hide buckler. Just want the goat hide buckler. There we go. Oof. Oh, and a large mana flask. Large. There we go. Oh man, that's... I'm not gonna like that. Well, they've got some kind of item filter options that can make some of the items disappear, but I don't see a way to customize that more. They just have a bunch of default settings whose parameters I do not understand. In some ways, the systems of this game strike me a little bit like the experience I had with Monster Hunter World, in that there was a lot of stuff that was not explained in the game, and so you're left to get online and connect with the community that's been playing this game for a while in order to figure things out from wikis and Reddit and whatever you can find. And I've developed a bit of a tolerance for that playing No Man's Sky and Monster Hunter World, but I don't know. Anything that's going to disrupt my enjoyment of the looting process in a Diablo clone, that's a big strike against the experience for me. It's enough of a nuisance or burden that I can see myself saying, no, I'm not really in the mood for that. It's not that it makes it this so horrible experience, but when I've got a bunch of other games I could be giving time to, I can see it being something that would make me, on a given evening, pass this one over. Oh, dang! Enemies respawn in this area just from me being away from it for a little while. I didn't even have to log out and get back in this time. Oh man, I've leveled up twice and haven't spent any of my points yet. I love the slimy sound of those zombies. All the squishy mud. Yeah, in general, a lot of these bad guys have a slushy, squishy sound to them that I kind of like. Oh, that feels good to upgrade my equipment. So that's the trade-off. Being more choosy in what I pick up means that I'm more likely to enjoy this time in my menu, switching out equipment, but results in less liquid currency.
God hasn't abandoned us.
It's interesting how She just said God hasn't abandoned us. First, I'm not used to the monotheism. I'm so much more used to polytheism in fantasy of this type. Makes me want to dig into the lore a little bit. Is this a metaphor for hell, or maybe more likely a metaphor for how a lot of people feel in this life? Like this life is kind of a hell that we're exiled to, and where is God? Is he judging us from afar and just leaving us to our own devices? I'm not saying those kinds of themes are consciously inspiring this world and this story, but I do wonder if on a more subconscious level they are inspiring the aesthetic, the lore, those kinds of things. That whole idea of like looking at our circumstances and not being happy with them, or being unsettled about something in life and wondering, where is God in this? Can I trust him in the middle of this? These are some things that I've been processing in some fresh ways lately. And I don't have all of my answers sorted out yet, but I have found, I think, reason to hope that God does want to guide me through some of the things that are troubling me and that I'm thinking about more as I get older. I'm starting to appreciate the socketing system and the strategy with figuring out what items you actually want to have equipped. That was a satisfying experience at the merchant. And that's an important part of the loop to me. If that can be satisfying, that it can make those trips back to the merchant worthwhile instead of being tedious. I want the gnarled branch. Oh, almost had it. Gnarled branch. Come on. Gnarled branch. Gnarled branch. Gnarled. There we go. Jeez. I don't know. Maybe I'll get used to it. Load times between areas are pretty fast. That's nice. And I'm just playing on a regular PS4. Some of these monster designs are nuts. I love it. There we go. Waypoint, baby. Okay, now this is cool. I just kind of discovered at random, accidentally, that when you get close to a group of items like this, you can use the right stick to start highlighting the specific ones that you might be interested in. And that makes looting, oh my gosh, so much easier. My joy for looting has been restored, so that's going to completely change my my outlook on the experience. But it does kind of underline a point that I made earlier, that this is probably, at least for my experience, going to end up being a game that, to understand more fully, I'm just going to have to get used to getting online, because I discovered that by accident. They'll put some tips every now and then in the load screens, but the load screens are, mercifully short, and so I don't see a ton of those. So it's a little bit of a bummer that a nice quality of life feature like that was kind of hidden from me. But it also gives me hope that maybe other issues I, might have with the game can be solved or mitigated by getting online and, seeing if there's an answer for them. I've also noticed about 4 hours into the game now that I feel plenty strong enough. I'm not bored. It's not so easy that I'm bored, but I feel plenty strong enough to take on the challenges I'm being asked to take on. In fact, I have some unspent passive skills. I've got 7 points that I haven't allocated to any of my passive skills yet. The abilities and spells that are tied to my gems, those are still auto-leveling up. But anytime I want, I could increase my spell damage, my casting speed, and, who knows what other things. But what I typically like to do, especially in an RPG I'm not familiar with, is hold off on spending those upgrade points as long as I can, so I can best know where it will be useful to spend them. Dude, why is it taking forever for my mana to fill back up? Oh, that's my health. There's my mana. Idiot. I really don't like those little notifications of various online things, like so-and-so is the first character to enter this place. I was getting also some connection-related issues that would prompt a message that said, "You have left the party." I'm like, I was never in a party. "You have left the party," telling me multiple times again and again. I wish there was a way to just kind of shut off all those indicators that this is an online game, because you can totally play it like a single-player game. The only time that I am aware that there are other people playing this game is when I go to the towns, and I don't have to interact with any of those people. I can just ignore them like NPCs that are just filling out the town. I suppose it's worth commenting on the darkness that is inherent to the design of this world. It's very grim. And as Christians, we might ask, gosh, should I be playing this kind of game? Should I be settling my mind in this kind of a fictional world? And I think that's an important question that is worth asking. But the answer, I do think, is going to be different from person to person. If you're not as familiar with the content I produce, there's a video I've put up on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/christiangeekcentral called Can Christians Be Evil in Games? And this game isn't necessarily about being evil, even though you are playing like some kind of outcast. Well, maybe it's an unjust world and you're actually the only sane and good person in it. I don't know. Probably not. But what I talk about and cover in that video is very relevant to playing a good character, but in a very dark setting. So if you want to check that out, again, the name of it is Can Christians Be Evil in Games over at youtube.com/christiangeekcentral. Oh, dang! Look at all the baddies! I feel like I've been leveling up something, either a gem or my own level, about every 5 minutes or so, and that's a really satisfying pace for me. Oh boy, trail of blood. I gotta be getting close to the big bad.
Give Our Lady Piety your absolute support and watch her with absolute scrutiny. There is much to learn from the likes of the Inquisitor, the Umbra, and the Soulless One. I would hate for Piety to feel that she need shoulder such perilous wisdom alone. Dominus.
So again, using Latin words, a reference to the Inquisitor, they're definitely drawing inspiration from medieval Catholicism, but I looked at the lore a little bit online and saw a few more dialogue bits that indicate that this is actually some kind of a polytheistic world, but maybe there's just like a monotheistic church-type theocracy organization that picks one of them that they super-duper like. I don't know. It's gotten to the point in games and in movies to some degree too, where it's like, are we making a statement, or is this just like so part of the genre of fantasy that it fits in with trolls and goblins? So you gotta throw it in there. It's not fantasy without an oppressive monotheism. Oh jeez! Oh, he's scary. Isn't there a portal? Can there please be a portal or something? That'd be really helpful. Oh my gosh, this guy. Super intimidating. Well... oh man, what? Oh my gosh! Oh man! This guy's very scary. What the crap? Oh, come on now. Almost got him. Oh, nice. I remember I got this far playing on PC years ago, and that guy killed me pretty quick. Maybe it's because I was playing melee and I was up close a lot more often. Yeah, I definitely feel like my character's strength is more than keeping pace with the difficulty demanded by the missions. And that's important to me. I don't like playing difficult games. It's pretty rare if a game is too easy for me. I like to explore the worlds. I'm not really good at Twitch skills, or certainly not fast thinking. So even with those idiosyncrasies, this is my kind of experience. One thing that may not be translating as well is this teleport ability that allows me to jump from one point to another one. It doesn't seem to give me the ability to choose exactly where I'm teleporting to. I'm wondering if on the PC version you would actually be able to click on the spot you want to teleport to. I don't know. This basically just jumps me a few spaces forward in whatever direction I'm facing. Well, roughly anyway. But I haven't been able to precisely control which among a group of enemies I attack with a ranged spell either, and I don't feel like that's hindered my experience. So far, it doesn't seem like making my way through this game requires a lot of tactical precision in enemy selection. Oh geez, I'm almost dead! Oh! Personally, I like games that have really dark tones to them. Movies as well. I think it's in part because the darker, the heavier the threat is, the more satisfying it is for that evil to be defeated. Okay, I've spent between 5 and 6 hours playing Path of Exile on PS4 now, and I'm really enjoying it. Let me just wrap up and give my summary thoughts. As far as the interface goes, I'm really happy with how it's translated to PS4. The movement isn't as precise as I'd like it to be, but I don't think it needs to be for what I'm doing in the game. Targeting, same thing, not as precise as I might like, with both targeting enemies and that teleportation spell, and who knows what else might pop up. But this doesn't seem to be the kind of game that's really going to require a lot of precise targeting of enemies and precise movement, on the screen. I like how it's handled the inventory. That's a wonderful feature. Maybe I'm not raising the bar high enough, but I'm really happy with that compared to certainly trying to control a mouse with an analog stick. And it was great to discover that bit of how to more specifically pick up the loot that I want from a big pile that's there. That does, though, bring up the accessibility issues. I think a downside potentially for me, at the same time as it being a benefit, is that there's a bunch of stuff I'll probably end up learning about this game online because it's not given to me through the game itself. That's both a blessing for those things that maybe frustrate or confuse me. I can potentially find an answer among the community that's been playing this game for years and years. But it's also a little bit frustrating because, crap, I wish I didn't have to slide over to my computer to look up stuff to figure out, what's going on in the depths of this game. That said, the depths right now don't seem to require my plumbing. This is an easy game for me to start. I think it's only if I really want to understand all the nuances of the stats and how everything works, which may become more relevant later in the game, I don't know. But since I'm just trying to make my way through the campaign, I'm hopeful that maybe that's more of like a post-campaign type thing, to really dig in at that point, and it's not going to be required just to finish the campaign. I do think that there's potential here for this to be an introduction to Diablo-style games for people that have not tried them before. I find it to be engaging, but not difficult, especially since enemies respawn once you've left the area for a little while, allowing you to grind and grind and grind if you want to. I have not intentionally done any grinding, and I feel not over-leveled, but definitely superior to the foes that I come across. The game wins tons of points for me aesthetically. I love a grim, dark, dreary aesthetic in my fantasy world, so that's really great. The themes, I think there's potential there for them to do some interesting commentary on organized religion or monotheism or something. I don't think it's going to be a favorable commentary toward monotheism or organized religion, but I'm still interested in hearing, what they have to say. I think that, negative commentary on those things can be useful to us as believers to just understand, okay, what's the perception? Even if it's an outdated perception, even if it's a totally, wrong and perception based on media, it's still useful, I think, for us to know. That said, I don't get the impression yet that it's going to be, covering any really innovative new ground if it does have any critical commentary to provide for organized religion, Christianity, or monotheism in general. Yeah, I have no serious complaints. This is pretty much exactly what I was hoping it would be, and I imagine I will be putting many, many more hours into it. Those are my thoughts for now. I'd love to get yours in the comments below, and then, of course, I hope you'll join us over at christiangeekcentral.com as we continue to geek out and seek the truth.